How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
I think she would be sad. I think she'd be looking at it long term, to know that there are certain things that we need to go through to be able to heal the relationship. I have felt the presence of my mum more so in the last 2 years than I have in the last.
Welcome back, everybody, to Entertainment Tonight from London. Now, in just 1 week, Prince Harry is expected to return here for a charity event that also coincides with the 3-year anniversary of the Queen's death. A royal reunion?
Well, I think there's a chance for a reconciliation. The idea that we're going to see Prince Harry back on that balcony, representing the royal family overseas, or doing any royal work in an official capacity, I think it's out of the question.
After days of feverish speculation during Prince Harry's UK trip this week, finally a royal reunion. The King's youngest son arriving at Clarence House. King Charles also seen pulling into his London residence. Buckingham Palace confirming that father and son shared a private tea. They haven't seen each other in person since February 2024.
The royal drama has exploded into absolute chaos, and trust me, this is messier than anyone expected. King Charles is sitting on what could be one of the hardest decisions of his reign. It's not about laws, it's not about global politics, it's about whether or not he should meet his own son, Prince Harry, during Harry's London visit. But don't be fooled, this isn't some sweet family reunion where hugs and forgiveness are on the table. No, this is about betrayal, mistrust, and the terrifying thought that one small conversation could end up plastered across Netflix or sold to the highest bidding tabloid. Grab your tea, because this so-called reunion has the power to shake the royal family to its core, and nothing about it feels safe.
I don't know how staying silent is ever going to make things better.
Wouldn't your brother say to you, Harry, how could you do this to me? After everything we went through, wouldn't that be what he would say?
He'd probably say all sorts of different things.
Some people will say, you have railed against invasions of your privacy all your life. But the accusation will be, here are you invading the privacy of your most nearest and dearest without permission. That'll be the accusation.
One of the criticisms that you've received is that, well, okay, fine, you want to move to California, you want to step back from the institutional role. Why?
Or have a conversation with the correspondent. And that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story. And then at the bottom of it, they will say that they've reached out to Buckingham Palace for comment. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace commenting. So when we're being told for the last 6 years, we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for other members of the family, there becomes a point when silence is betrayal.
Just under an hour. Now, the last meeting that they had in February 2024 was half of that time. So I think that says a lot. And I think it also shows the King to be incredibly magnanimous, because Charles was incredibly upset by a lot of what was spelt out in Spare.
There were hints over the summer a reunion could be in the works after a meeting between reps from the palace and the Sussex camp was widely photographed. But this week, there are no signs he'll meet big brother Prince William.
I think we can draw a lot from the fact that William was hundreds of miles away, in fact in Cardiff yesterday, while Harry was in London, clearly not willing to meet with his brother, not willing to have a conversation, and not willing to open that door.
Now let's be real. On the surface, this looks like a father deciding if he should see his son. Simple, right? Wrong. When you peel back the layers, the stakes are astronomical. The trust between Charles and Harry isn't just cracked, it's obliterated. Whispers are swirling that Harry might even be recording their private conversations. Can you imagine? The King of England, paranoid that his own son could be using their heart-to-hearts as content for a documentary? This isn't just a meeting, it's a potential landmine, and one wrong step could set off an explosion of global proportions.
From the people that don't understand or don't want to believe that my family have been briefing the press.
If you're invited to the coronation, will you come?
There's a lot that can happen between now and then. But, you know, the door is always open. The ball is in their court. There's a lot to be discussed, and I really hope that they are willing to sit down and talk about it.
Do you still believe in the monarchy?
Yes.
Do you believe you'll play a part in its future?
Picture this. You're the king, and every word you say to your child might end up turned into a headline, or worse, another Netflix episode. That's Charles's reality. Let's not forget Harry's infamous 12-minute surprise visit that left palace staff blindsided and Charles completely unprepared. That stunt was so chaotic that the palace had to rewrite the entire playbook. Now the rules are crystal clear. No private meetings, no casual chats, and believe it or not, even airport-level security measures might be put in place before Harry can even get near his father. Yes, that's how little trust is left.
Harry, who has returned to the UK to attend the Well Child Awards in London. Today he's been to Windsor Castle, where he laid a wreath and privately paid respect to the late Queen, who passed 3 years ago to this day. Well, should King Charles grant Prince Harry, the prodigal prince, a royal audience? Let's get the views of the leading royal commentator and author, Lady Colin Campbell. Lady Colin Campbell, do you think the king should meet Harry?
Absolutely not.
And it's not just Charles losing sleep over this. Camilla is reportedly dead against letting Harry through the door again. She's warning Charles that any ounce of sentiment could be twisted and turned against them. She sees Harry and Meghan fighting to cling to relevance in Hollywood, and she knows they'll use even the tiniest interaction as material. And then there's the Diana factor. Rumors that Harry is diving into another Diana-focused project are already putting the royals on high alert. William, especially, is not having it. His mother's memory is sacred to him, and the idea of her story being spun for more drama, that's enough to make him slam the door shut completely.
Harry has compared Camilla to an evil stepmother in a revealing new passage from his upcoming memoir, Spare. The Duke of Sussex says that both he and William were aware that she was the other woman, but begged Charles not to remarry. The brothers then had meetings with Camilla before she went public with her romance with Charles. And Harry compared this experience to getting a painful injection. Harry then continued that the now Queen Consort wasn't really interested in meeting him, writing that she seemed bored during their conversation. Harry said he believes this was simply because he wasn't the heir, so this meeting was a pure formality. Harry says that he also was unsure how Camilla would treat him once she became a member of the family, saying, "I remember wondering if she would be cruel to me, if she would be like all the wicked stepmothers in the stories."
Palace advisors, meanwhile, aren't buying any of this as reconciliation. To them, it's theater. A stage show meant to look good for cameras, but carrying zero sincerity. For Charles, the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about his bond with Harry anymore. It's about safeguarding the monarchy's image. Even a hug, a smile, or a handshake could dominate headlines and spiral out of control. And here's the truth. This isn't shaping up like a warm father-son catch-up. No, it's starting to feel like a cold, calculated chess game. Charles is trying to outwit someone he fears might literally be wearing a wire under his shirt. Crazy? Maybe. But those rumors about Harry secretly recording conversations have been around for years, and now they're louder than ever.
He spoke to Spencer about changing their name because he thought that might speed things up. This gets even more strange. So Harry wanted the HRHs for the children to be included in their passports, and according to this report in The Guardian, he wants their children to have the option, when they're older, of being full-time working royals. He wants them to be able to choose. So even though Harry and Meghan have quit royal duties, and they're now making videos and everything, they want Prince Archie
should meet Harry?
Absolutely not. I think it would be a fatal error to meet Harry. There's no reason why he should. It's not going to work in his favour. It's not going to work in favour of Prince William. I think it would be a gross error because anything that happened in the meeting could be twisted, unless, of course, there would be a witness, as there was at the last meeting, the 12-minute meeting at Clarence House, when the Queen, the present Queen, Camilla, made sure that she was in the room the whole time. No, there's no advantage to meeting with.
Inside Buckingham Palace, the mood is icy. Every single encounter with Harry is treated as if it's a setup, a trap just waiting to be sprung. And Charles? He knows it better than anyone. People outside think he's being cold for ignoring Harry's calls. But that's not it at all. He's protecting himself, the monarchy, and the institution he spent his entire life upholding. One wrong step, one kind smile, and Harry and Meghan could flip it into a PR circus. Let's not forget that 12-minute ambush at Clarence House. Harry popped in unannounced, left Charles blindsided, and palace staff scrambling. Since then, Charles has been crystal clear. Never again. No more secret pop-ins, no private chats, nothing unsupervised. And get this, some aides are actually floating the idea that Harry would need to be searched before seeing the king. Think pat-downs, metal detectors, the full TSA treatment, just to meet his own father. Can you believe that? But that's how bad it's gotten. The fear isn't just that Harry might gossip later, it's that he could be secretly recording every single word. Maybe he'd claim it's for clarity or protection, but everyone knows the truth. Those tapes could easily be used as leverage later. And Charles, after everything he lived through with Diana and the media, isn't about to hand his son that kind of weapon. This isn't just a family spat anymore. This is an all-out battle for control of the narrative. And one thing's clear, the king isn't going to give Harry an easy victory. Now let's talk about Camilla. She's reportedly had enough of the drama. Behind closed doors, she's the one telling Charles to stand firm. No wavering, no giving in to fatherly feelings. She's terrified that if Harry gets even the tiniest bit of access, Meghan will flip it into a media storm. Think headlines. Think Netflix drama. Think endless spin. And with Netflix practically circling the royals like vultures, waiting for their next crown-like scandal, the pressure couldn't be heavier. At the very core of all this chaos is one simple truth. Trust is dead. It doesn't exist anymore. Harry hasn't apologized for anything. Not the claims of racism, not the digs at Camilla, not the accusations aimed at Catherine or William. So when Charles looks at Harry now, he doesn't see his son. He sees a walking risk. A risk that could blow up into another firestorm at a time when the monarchy is already limping from one crisis to the next. The crown can't afford another scandal, and Charles knows it. And here's where it gets juicy. People are saying that Harry and Meghan's push for this meeting isn't about family at all. It's about staying in the spotlight. This whole reunion is being whispered about as a PR stunt. Something staged just to pump life back into their fading brand. Let's be honest, Hollywood has started to move on. The shine is gone, the Spotify deal is ancient history, the flashy opportunities are drying up. So, what's left? Royal proximity, staying tied to the monarchy, even just through rumors, keeps them relevant. Leak a story about a possible meeting, and boom, the headlines start flying. Whether it happens or not, they win. Think about it. Charles has seen this exact game before. Not with Harry, but with Diana. He knows all about emotional manipulation, media games, and the dark side of playing victim, and this time, he's not walking in blind. That's why palace insiders are already whispering about extreme ground rules if a meeting does happen. No private chats, no warm fatherly moments, just cold business-like exchanges. A secretary in the room at all times, maybe even a written transcript of every word. Imagine that. Father and son reduced to scripted lines, like characters in a play. It wouldn't feel like family. It would feel like courtroom drama. And that's the heartbreak here. This isn't about love anymore. It's about survival. Harry and Meghan are fighting tooth and nail for relevance, their Netflix deal teetering on the edge. And to up the stakes, whispers are flying about a new Diana-centered project, but not a soft, glowing tribute. Oh no, this would lean into the darkest corners, conspiracy theories, speculation about her death, and questions about what the palace really knew. And insiders are saying Harry is seriously considering stepping right into it, his ultimate card, they're calling it. A last-ditch attempt to secure his long-term media future. And shockingly, there's even chatter that Earl Spencer, Diana's brother, might be involved. Yes, the very same man who stood at her funeral and blasted the royals in front of the world. If Harry goes through with this, it won't be a gentle tribute. It'll be a nuclear bomb, detonated straight into the heart of the monarchy. For Charles and William, even the idea of this Diana project is enough to make their blood run cold. William especially has always guarded his mother's memory with his life. The thought of her legacy being twisted into a streaming spectacle, it's unbearable for him. And Charles, he's spent decades trapped in the shadow of that broken marriage and its devastating public collapse. The idea that his own son could now weaponize Diana's story to fuel his Hollywood survival, it's almost too much for him to process. And let's not sugarcoat it. If Harry really goes ahead with this project, the backlash won't just burn Harry. It will circle right back to Charles, ripping open scars he's spent decades trying to heal. This is where Camilla steps back into the spotlight. No one understands the danger of Diana's shadow better than her. For years, Camilla was painted as the villain of the story, the mistress, the homewrecker, the woman who stole Charles from Diana. She wore that scarlet letter in the eyes of the public for decades. It took relentless loyalty to Charles, carefully calculated appearances, and years of rehabilitation for her to claw her way out of that narrative. But one wrong Netflix special with Harry's name attached could drag her straight back into the mud. Every ounce of progress she's made could vanish overnight, painting her again as the eternal antagonist. For Camilla, this isn't just gossip, it's survival. Some voices close to the palace are blunt. If Charles meets Harry, it'll be a fatal mistake. Why? Because nothing good can come out of it. No matter how carefully planned, every single thing said in that room could be twisted. Even the last time Harry dropped in for that 12-minute visit at Clarence's house, Queen Camilla made sure she was present in the room the entire time. Why? Because she knew Harry couldn't be trusted alone. Without a witness, the risk is too high. And that's exactly the point people are making now. There is simply no upside to another meeting. But here's where it gets darker. Harry's moves aren't looking strategic anymore. They're looking desperate. Word floating out of Montecito is that Netflix is watching closely. Their entire deal could depend on what Harry brings to the table next. And let's be honest, what bigger card does he have left than Diana? Diana is timeless. Diana is untouchable. Diana still sells. If Harry positions himself as the heir to her unfinished legacy, he regains instant relevance. But at what cost? It would mean dragging his mother's tragedy back into the spotlight, turning grief into content. And that's exactly why this story cuts so deep. Because here's the tragedy. This isn't just about a family falling apart anymore. It's about a brand on the brink of collapse. Harry clearly wants to be heard, but the way he's chasing attention makes true reconciliation nearly impossible. Charles might still love his son deeply. No one doubts that. But love isn't enough when the stakes are this high. What they're facing isn't just a father-son feud, it's a constitutional hazard, one that could ripple far beyond their private lives and hit the monarchy itself. And the stakes aren't lost on anyone. Insiders are whispering that Harry and Meghan are deliberately trying to be as divisive as possible, aiming to damage not just Charles's image but William's too. They want the palace fractured because division gives them leverage. The more chaos, the better it works for them. The more headlines, the longer they stay in the game. And here's the cold truth. Even if a meeting does happen, it won't be real. It'll be theater. A stiff handshake, a polite smile for the cameras, but underneath it all, distrust, anger, and years of unresolved wounds. Trust isn't just broken, it's pulverized into dust. And unless something radical shifts, this cycle will never end. Harry will keep pressing, the palace will keep dodging, and the world will keep watching every single move like it's the finale of some endless reality show. Because let's be brutally honest, the real tragedy isn't that Charles won't see his son, it's that he can't. Not safely, not honestly, not without worrying that his every word might be recorded, twisted, and replayed for millions. And when a father can't trust his own son in private, that's not just family drama anymore. That's history being rewritten in real time, headlines instead of hugs, scandal instead of reconciliation. So here we are, the royal family, trapped at a crossroads, trust shattered, the world watching. Charles forced to choose between protecting the crown or protecting his role as a father. Harry may be ready to play the Diana card and push things into dangerous new territory. And everyone left wondering, is reconciliation even possible, or is this feud now permanent?